All right, so check it out. Now, right here, here's another great example of how everything, every player, and in every position on the court is basically under the mercy of the algorithm and the mercy of the AI. And how the algorithm and the AI is programmed to understand every single scenario and um, how to react to those scenarios in a way that would be beneficial for the computer on the opposing team. Now, right here, I'm guarding this guy right here. Slow him down, get him to the basket. He goes up. Now, for one, pay attention to how I was forced to slide out of his way. All right? Boom. I didn't even notice that. So when I jumped to block it, I was not allowed to cut over in front of him to block it. I'm forced to slide backwards and let him get past uh, so that he could get the open shot, right? But luckily enough, Giannis was there and he hammered his shit, right? So he blocked it anyways. But once again, and this I didn't even notice this right here at first. I just noticed this once I started recording it. All right, I was forced to not be able to block or defend this shot. Now, if this happened and Giannis wasn't there, you see where he is. That would have just been a wide open layup that he would have just made. All right, but now Giannis blocks it. He throws it. Now it comes down, and pay attention to how I have a teammate right here. This is Porter Jr., right, and he's looking at this. Or wait a minute, is that Porter? Yeah, Porter Jr. So he's looking at this, right? And initially, he was going to go after the rebound and get the ball, get the possession back, right? But the algorithm stopped him. It prevented him from being able to do it. This was done deliberately. This is called straight up cheating, right? So look at this again. Pay attention to Porter. The rebound comes down. He looks at it, stops and turns the opposite direction. Then this guy comes from all the way where he was at and actually picks it up and gets it. He gets it back. He passes it off to the man down there, and they get another opportunity to score, and they actually pull it off. So let's look at it from this point of view. All right, Giannis blocks it. First of all, I'm forced out of the way, right? So that's step one. Giannis blocks it. Okay, he saved it, right? He saved the defense. Porter sees the rebound and turns back around, turns away from it. And the computer is allowed to jet all the way from where he's at and come and get the rebound, while we have two players. One guy right here didn't even attempt to go get it. Wait a minute. Right, didn't even attempt to go get it. He just looked at it. And another guy turned around, looked at it, seen it, and, just turned back around like fuck it and let computer get it. They get the pass and get the easy bucket, right? All of this is done by the algorithm. This is how the algorithm is situated to help cheat for the computer. All right? That is how 2K works. That's why I keep stressing the algorithm and the AI, because it's clear that they spent a significant amount of time actually and deliberately, on a conscious level, intentionally programming this game to cheat the user. All right? This is not just the game messing up. It's not a flaw in the game or anything like that. It's actually made this way. It's made to do this type of shit. That's why dudes always say 2K is cheating, 2K is doing this, and that. Because it actually is. They may not be able to articulate it correctly or actually point out specifically what's going on in every instance. But anybody with common sense can tell when you're playing this game, certain things are arbitrarily forced or not allowed to happen in order to cheat you. You could feel when you're being cheated, right? You can tell a lot of times by the coincidence or the happenstance of certain scenarios. It's like, wow, what's the chances of that? Because the algorithm is forcing what it wants to happen. It's forcing its own narrative. Is pushing its own agenda throughout the entire course of the game. And once again, it's not that they have anything to gain necessarily from cheating you or anything like that, but they have not programmed the computer well enough to be good to be good enough to actually defeat you on logic, skill, merit, basketball, IQ, etc. So their way of getting around that and making it appear as if computer is a challenge is by doing shit like what I just showed in this video. The average person, this whole scenario, they would never pay any attention to none of this. It's even certain things that I didn't even see until I started to record this video. Like, wow, I didn't even notice that part. Because in every aspect of the game, they're doing something on every possession to cheat you. It's just my fault. It's just a matter of whether or not, it's actually executed correctly. It's not always, sometimes the AI try to cheat you, but they don't execute whatever the goal was correctly. All right. Let's look at this again. Let's just walk through it. Let's go walk through it once again. He's coming down. I check him, chase him down. He goes for the layup. I'm forced when I press the Y button to defend the shot to block it. I'm purposefully forced to go behind him. You see this? Where it's like I slide. Look at my feet. It's like I'm sliding backwards behind him, so that I'm not able to actually do my best at defending the shot. Luckily, once again, this is an example of them not being able to execute the algorithm not being able to execute its agenda correctly, because Giannis was right there, and even then, they could have just forced him to not try to block the shot. But it don't always play out exactly correct, right? So luckily he was there to block it. That was a great fucking block, by the way. And the ball comes down. We got a man right here who's a dominant rebounder. We got a guy right here who's also a somewhat dominant rebounder. And Porter, they both look at, Porter turns around and actually looks at the ball, right? That lets you know that the animation triggered him to get the rebound, but the algorithm was shut it down. Like, nah, turn back around. So he turns back around, right? And his head is still cocked. So he was triggered to get the rebound, but just wasn't allowed to. And this guy, he just zips across the court between all four players. My guy was just understandable why I didn't get it. Giannis couldn't get it. These two dudes just watched it. And he blows past the defender, and he goes and get the rebound. Pass it, get the assist, get the bucket. That's a point, right? Now they got a point. What if some shit like this goes on in the last 2 minutes of the game and the game is close? And that's all that computer needed to win, right? Shit like that happens. Or what if this cheating ass scenario is what causes them to win the game in the end? This is the first quarter. That 2 points could have been the 2 points they needed to just win the game in the end, right? But that's what they're doing. It's the accumulation of all of the cheating that they're doing. It builds up and it culminates into a certain amount of points given or a certain amount of points taken. So where you probably could have beat them by 70, you probably just beat them by 30, right? Anyway, peace.